Awesome. So today we're going to be making leche flan. Take a look at that. This is what we will be making today. And I'll be showing you exactly how to make it. Okay, so we have 7 eggs here. We're only going to use the yolks. I'm going to start with this because honestly it is the hardest part for me because I am terrible at separating egg yolks from the egg white, and we are only using the egg yolks. So we have 7 eggs right here, and actually I'm going to save the egg for Easter, so I'm actually going to make it even more difficult to crack open. So I've got 3 empty bowls here, and I'll show you what I'm doing with them. And this one has a little bit of water in it because I'm cracking just the tip so we can save the egg for Easter because the kids like to decorate these. So I'm just making like a little hole at the top. Okay, I didn't show y'all that. So I'm just carefully making a hole at the top, making sure it's not sharp so that it doesn't puncture my egg yolk. And I'm gonna put it in this one here, very, very carefully, so that it doesn't crack open my egg yolk. You guys, it won't come out. Oh geez. If I crack it a little bit more. All right. So we successfully have 1. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and separate that one, and let me show you how I do it. I washed my hands, I dried them really good, and then I literally just took it out with my hand. And now I'm going to put it here in this one, and the egg white I'm going to put in this other one, and now I'm going to repeat the process 7 times. Okay, y'all, look what I did. I separated all of my egg yolks, and they don't have like any white on them. I think this is really the best way to do it because honestly, I have a really hard time. And look, I didn't crack any of them or anything. And I have them here ready. I'm gonna just wash them right now, and they're gonna be ready for Easter when the time comes. Okay, I've got all of my ingredients that we're going to be using here. We've got the 7 egg yolks, 1 tablespoon of butter. This is actually to go in the pan. It's not going to go in the flan. We've got 1/8 of a teaspoon here of salt. I used sea salt, and then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of this pure vanilla extract, 1 can evaporated milk, 1 can sweetened condensed milk, and then we're going to do, this is the caramel part, we're going to use 1 cup of regular granulated sugar. I'll put everything in the description below. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dump my butter in here, and you can use a napkin to do this, but I usually use my hands because I like to make sure it is very well buttered. And this is all we're using the butter for. And I just used regular salted butter. You can use unsalted. I don't really think it matters, but I'm going to make sure and get everything coated. I'm not going all the way up. I'm leaving like an inch of space. All right, let's get started. I'm going to set my pan aside. I'm going to get a large mixing bowl, this one here, and I'm going to put my 7 egg yolks. I'm going to put 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. One can evaporated milk. I'm going to put a pinch of salt, or 1/8 of a teaspoon. And I'm going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. This is really your preference. If you want to add more, you can add an extra one. If you want to do less, if you want to, you know, switch it out to maybe some lemon zest, I mean, it's up to you. You can make it your own. This is my version of the leche flan. There's a lot of versions out there. You can just make it your own. That's what makes it special. Whenever you're cooking, you can make everything your own. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and whisk this up. You can use a blender for this, or you can just whisk it like this, or you can use the hand mixer, but mine broke, so I'm just gonna whisk it by hand. Okay, I've moved on to the stove now. We're gonna add our 1 cup of sugar to this pan here. And I've got it like at a medium heat. This is gonna take a little while just to melt all of this sugar. And I'll show you how it melts. If you burn it, or if it gets too dark, it's gonna have a bitter taste. And to me, that just ruins it. I mean, you wanna get a very light caramel color just to be on the safe side. As soon as the sugar is melted and it's a light color, you want to turn it off and you want to get it off of the stove. All right, we're starting to get some melted sugar here. I like to just keep stirring so that it doesn't get too dark. All right. So and it's gonna happen really quickly. So whenever you're doing this, don't step away from the stove. Just take care of it. I think I've been here a total of 6 minutes, so it's actually quite fast. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the heat at this point. We only have a little bit of chunks in there. All right, I'm gonna say we're like almost done, and I'm just gonna pour it in really quickly into the, there's like 1 chunk in there, and I don't know if I should let it melt really quick, because it is definitely the color that I want it. I might just take that out. All right. Perfection, and it smells really good too. All right, so let me move my camera here. All right, there's my pan. And I'm just gonna quickly pour this in. Now, don't bother with like getting every single piece of, or all of the caramel out perfectly, because we're gonna use some of it. Well, I used a nonstick, so it wanted to pour out perfectly. All right, I just left a little bit in there, and I'm gonna show y'all what we're gonna do with it. I'm just gonna set it aside here. All right, so there's my caramel. And I'm gonna take my bowl that I mixed up here, and I'm just gonna mix it again, because this whole time I've been melting the sugar and it might have like settled a little bit. The next important step is to strain it right into the mixture. gonna be a little bit, well, actually mine is not hot. It is towards the bottom though. You have to be very careful because that caramel heats up everything. And I'll show you the next step. Okay, so the next step is that we're actually going to steam this flan. So I don't have a steamer, but I have where we make tamales. And I put a little bit of water on the bottom, and I'm just gonna put the same thing that we use for the tamales right down there. And I'm going to carefully place my flan right in there. I'm doing this on the floor because I'm really short and I don't want to have any problems later trying to lift it up onto the stove. Okay, for this next step, what I'm going to show you is, you'll notice I put a towel up there because I don't want any of the steam to collect on the top of the lid because then it's going to drip inside of your flan. But if you'll notice, I did not let any of the towel drip over because that can cause a fire and you don't want your towel to catch on fire. There's like a good 1.5 foot difference from the actual fire to the lid, so yeah, you gotta be really careful with that. And I just put like a medium heat, and the water that I put in there was like lukewarm. I didn't put hot water in there because I didn't want to burn myself. So we're just gonna let that go for probably about 45 minutes, and then I'll check on it, see if it jiggles, or if it's pretty firm, then it's already done. Okay, so while that cooks, I went ahead and I turned on the leftover syrup that we had left, the caramel we made with the melted sugar. See how it got really hard again? Well, this, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of water and we're gonna let that melt again. There's my water. Okay, I just took a little bit of cold water, I put it in a bowl, and we're just gonna like spoon this into strings in here, just like this, and we're just making like a little design. It's pretty, that's all. It's not really to eat. You can eat it, but really I'm just doing this just so that it looks pretty on top of the flan. And here it is, all ready. Alright, let's cut into it. Do I want a big piece or a small piece? I don't know, I haven't decided. Alright. Ooh, look at that. Why isn't it focusing? Here it is. Look how beautiful that looks. Yeah, that's gonna be good. It's so creamy and so good. Perfect. People ask me all the time if it has any cream cheese in it, and it doesn't. It's literally so decadent. It tastes so creamy. I'm gonna eat the whole thing. So good. Everybody asks me for this recipe. It's kind of different. The texture is really good. I've had people tell me that they don't like flan, and once they have this, they love it.